Yo, what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back welcoming you to the post-fight show with Stormybman as we get into this evening's and this late afternoon's fight cards that were the matches on both DAZN and Fox, where we saw on the Fox broadcast Ortiz versus Flores as the main event, and on the DAZN app we had Haney versus Gamboa for the WBC lightweight championship. So with no further ado, we're here to talk about it with you guys and ladies, and let me bring my co-host in, Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens. What's going on with you, Reggie? How you doing?
Doing good, OG. Ready to make the calls on these fights?
Yes, sir, man. It's interesting, Reggie, that we see boxing every week now, it seems, and we have something to talk about. It gets exciting, you know, when we can set aside a special slice of our time and our day to cover these matches, man. We watch these cards, and all of us in the chats and doing the call and everything, we become like a big fight party, you know, and this is the after party where we get a chance to come over here and talk about the matches and everything. So, you know, we're here. We want to salute everybody that's out there in the chat. You know, don't forget to hit the like button as you come in. We got Big Homie Coop out there. Soccer Training Club says, blessings, Stormy B Man in chat. Chi-Town's finest is out there, says, on our way over, Stormy. Yeah, just don't run into anybody. Just keep it, you know, under the speed limit. And Andrew Charles is out there, says, salute, Stormy B-Man. Kenneth Johnson is out there. And Tone Brown is saluting myself in the chat. And IGM Tim is out there, says, let's do this, Stormy and Reggie. Peace to the chat, he says, and calling us all family, which we are. So yeah, man, another day, Reggie. We just finished the Haney versus Gamboa card, and as we've been prone to do over the past few weeks of these broadcasts, we can jump right on into the main event, the nitty and the gritty. We don't have to keep everybody up real late. We can go through this and talk about this in a respectful manner and enlightening manner. So since you made the call, why don't you introduce us to what we just got a chance to witness, and some got a chance to listen to you call in Haney versus Gamboa for the lightweight championship of the WBC.
Man, this one turned out. This is a good outing for Devin Haney, but the only thing is Devin Haney was pressing to impress fans by outdoing the result of Tank Davis, but he didn't have to do this. This performance was probably the best performance put up against Gamboa, minus having to stop him. But nowhere was Gamboa able to make this a competitive or dirty fight. He was able to make it competitive against Tank Davis. He was able to take rounds from Tank Davis, touch Tank Davis up with a few shots. In this one, wasn't able to do that at all. The height, range, speed, athleticism was just way too much for Gamboa in this fight. And just like two of the judges on here, I didn't give Gamboa a single round in this fight. Devin jab, well, the jab from Devin is beautiful, but like you said, he needs to stop. When he gets too comfortable and relaxed, he starts to throw that jab, like you said, from the waist. He needs to keep it from the shoulder, shoots the jab properly. He needs to stay 100% focused throughout the fights. He went in here headhunting a lot. Gamboa, solid chin. And like you also were saying, he's still developing into his man strength, but he has the ability to deliver these shots. He can deliver big bombs along with that speed on top of it. It's going to be devastating for some of these fighters out there. But Gamboa is a resilient guy, but the other side of things that people missed out is that Gamboa fought to survive, and it also cost Gamboa a point, being all the clinching he was doing. He did a lot of clinching in this fight. And also he pulled that little slick move off where he caught Devin Haney pulling out and hit him with that clean hook, and it had no effect on Devin. So it shows me that Devin Haney has the ability to take a punch as well. I just didn't like what Devin would do as far as moving too far on the inside, getting caught with punches, because I was worried about him getting clipped with something. He was able to avoid and get lucky on that. But all in all, he fought a clean fight, man, and almost how we spoke about it. We spoke about that yesterday. And I was saying he needed to do that. He had to fight sharp, stay on the outside, not fall too far on the inside. The other thing is when he landed particular shots, he got too happy and kept repeating them. And I think that could have been a moment in which Gamboa could have found ways of countering that, because if he landed that little lunge, jump in, left hook, he'll do it 4 times in succession of each other. Then if he landed an uppercut, Devin went repeating that, trying to get the uppercut as he felt good about the uppercut, but trying to throw it. And that's something he has to get better with, mixing in other combinations, varying stuff. But it was in there. I guess he knew he was in there with a guy who can get away with it. But all in all, it was a good event for Devin Haney. I like what I saw. I'm not going to say, the other guys should be looking their chops. They looking their chops, and I hope they are, so we can get the fights that we want. But that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah. Want to salute a few more people who have come in. We got Watcher out there. He says Ortiz took 45 seconds. Parker took 3 rounds. That's how you should get opposition like that out of there. Watcher is also saying salute. LeVar Cooper is out there saluting myself and saluting you, Reggie. And he's saluting others in the chat. Soccer Training Club says Gamboa went out there to survive. Haney is too much. Devin Cruz is offering that it was a terrible fight and Conor McGregor would KO Haney inside 5 rounds. Rashid Wark is out there, says peace at Stormybman and peace at everyone. IGM Tim says, you grandmaster around here now, I heard. Listen, man, let me tell you something. When I watched this fight tonight, and I'm right on board with you, Reggie, I did not give Gamboa a round. I had made the first round even because it was a fill-out round and neither of them really did too much, but immediately picking up with the second round, Haney took over the fight. There were no bones about it. He showed himself to be more defensively responsible than any of the other young guys that are in that your group of fighters that we talk about their names together. Devin Haney showed more defensive responsibility than any of them. He was not as strong as some of the others, but that does not mean he can't compete with others. His skill set is there. His power will come. He has an alertness. I noticed him checking where he was in the ring and checking the canvas areas and things like that. He was surveying the territory, so to speak. What I had the most problem with is what Reggie mentioned in his opening statement was Devin needs to get the hell out of that shoulder roll posture and dropping his left hand low. It's no need for him to do that. He is a fighter who is young, has quick reflexes. He has a long way to go, hopefully, with his career where he can try an assortment of different things, but it's no need to start your career off doing things improper. And keeping that left hand low is improper. If Gamboa was young enough to pull the trigger, he would have landed more right hands. That's an honest assessment, knowing that he was the shorter man with the shorter reach, and also older man who has taken, the sport has taken its toll on Gamboa realistically, but all he needs to do, instead of having that left hand by his waist, bring it up near his shoulder. Actually, he would even benefit from posturing in the manner like Lennox Lewis used to use his left, where it was halfway extended. Okay. And from that position, he can keep people on the outside of him. He can stay closer than he would need to be from having that hand low. And he would be available to do things off of that to keep his arms in a position not to be wrapped up. Because with that left hand low, Gamboa was able to go in there and start tying up. And guess where his left hand was? Underneath them, like this, trapped between their bodies. And Gamboa did look to survive a great deal. And one of the things that a fighter who likes to survive by clutching, clinching, killing time, killing the clock, killing your activity, one of the things they like to do is wrap you up with one of your hands on the opposite side of the ref. And if you look back on this fight, how many times Gamboa reached out to grab, clinch, hold, kill time, kill activity, things of that nature, it was a multitude. So when you notice these things, there are things you could go back to the gym and work on, but Haney needs to always keep his hands in a puncher's position. And that is with your hands up. Stop dropping that hand low. It's no need for you to do that whatsoever. You're not Floyd Mayweather. You're not Roger Mayweather. You're not any of those guys that come out of that TMT gym and all of that. Keep your hands up, brother. Keep yourself in a position to get your shots off and also to bring your hands back home where the guy can't wrap you up. Okay? That's boxing 101. But other than that, he fought the perfect fight for himself. He even let loose on some stiff shots late in the fight to test to see if Gamboa would still be ready to go. And he found out that not only could he land those shots, but Gamboa looked to grab him even more. So it would have been a much more ugly fight had he tried to open up like that earlier in the fight. Gamboa is at that stage. He needs to sit down. The sport has now passed him by. We don't want to see him end up like Wilfredo Benitez or someone like that, just taking shots from these young guns, getting beaten up. He doesn't need that for himself. He had a nice career, and he doesn't need to be cannon fodder for other people now. I don't like to see fighters being put in that type of position. If he needs money, maybe he want to start working in the gym, training people and things like that. He's young enough and fresh enough and close enough to the sport of younger people coming up that he can be impactful. And he's a guy who speaks the language of Cuban and Spanish, so he can help men and communicate things very strongly. So those are my opening statements about this fight, Reggie. Did you have anything to say off of something I said, or any counter or thing, in support of what I said or whatever?
No, I agree with everything you said, but I'm hoping we don't have to see Teofimo needing to do his display against Gamboa, Ryan Garcia doing his display against Gamboa. Hopefully this is it for Gamboa, and he just faces the reality that the sport has passed him by. But I want this to open the door to these other guys going here taking these challenges. Any of the guys who think they can laugh at the outcome, the fact that he went to 12 rounds, but these fools will be fooling themselves thinking that this was a bad performance. This is excellent performance, and it shows that this kid will give any of these top prospects out there an issue with boxing. And just because he didn't get this guy out here don't mean they have the same chin to be able to take the punches that Gamboa took tonight. So I hope they think that this is, oh man, I see weakness in this guy. I see something. And now we get the fights, because it's time to see these younger fighters fight each other. Take the defeats while you're young, meet at some other point down the line as well. But that's what I'm looking forward from. I enjoyed the hell out this performance from Devin Haney. And the most I was just worried about him getting caught with something. But other than that, he fought a brilliant fight. Fought a real brilliant fight.
Yeah, undoubtedly, man. I want to say shout out to the Boxing King for the Cash App donation. Appreciate you, bro. He says, respect Stormy, peeking through them blinds. Good fight. Yes, sir. It was still a good fight. For some people who might have thought it was a boring fight, it was still a good fight because Gamboa didn't win a round. Devin Haney locked that fight up in the same sense that you would see Floyd Mayweather when he was at his best locking fights up. Pernell Whitaker when he was locking fights up. It was never in threat. He was never going down. He just shut the opponent out. And let me say this, Reggie. That's how you also know that it's over for Gamboa. Because if he can't win a round against a guy that's not going to knock him out, and let's not look at that in a negative sense for Devin Haney, because I don't believe Devin Haney went out there trying to knock him out. He was trying to box and set things up, which is the proper way. If the knockout comes, it comes. But at no point in the fight was Yuriorkis Gamboa threatening to hurt or harm Devin Haney. And if he did try to open up, what he would have found was more incoming that was a threat to him. So he chose, like it was said in the chat, to survive the situation. And if it's got to be if it's got to be like that for you night in and night out when you perform, you need to find another line of work, because you'll get hurt out here. And I don't want to see guys leaving the sport damaged and walking on their heels and things like that. I want to see them be able to go away from the sport and pass the baton. You know what I'm saying? So that is my view of that. And again, a whitewashing like that, in a sense, is a lot better than just getting the guy out of there, because he got 12 rounds of championship experience that nobody can take away from him. Nobody. You understand? Like I said, you can learn more in a 12-round fight than you can in a 1 or 2 round knockout. So this is how you have to look at it. I don't want people to look at Devin Haney in a negative sense and say, oh man, he didn't get Gamboa out of there. Most people got Gamboa out of there when Gamboa was exchanging with them and they were able to get him cleanly or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that's the difference. He was looking to protect himself against this young man. Why? Because maybe he knew that young man had something and he didn't want to go down from it. Or maybe he had heard. You know, there are whispers in the gym when people are performing at this level that there's a great deal of word about somebody. Whether somebody's training habits are good, they're having poor sparring sessions, whether they really got something, whether they're not all of that. That word travels around. And if Gamboa thought that this young man didn't have much, he would have opened up more himself. Does that make sense to you, Reggie?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you know, that's what I want to say. You know, when you're looking at that like that, you have to, you know, look at it for what it is. There will be people who will try to say something negative about his performance, but he did an excellent performance. The man won every round. So, you know, they can pop a champagne bottle tonight. 12 championship rounds of experience where you won every single round against a former world champion himself, a guy who had a name in the sport, and you didn't get touched, you didn't get hurt, you didn't get a cut, you didn't get you didn't hurt your hand, you didn't look bad. That's irreplaceable, Reggie. The type of experience that I'm often talking about. You hear myself, Kurt Sugar, you hear Scrapbook Boxing. We always talk about this with guys who are able to get those rounds in the bank, rounds of experience where they can learn something. And then guess what? When he goes into his next fight, he has that much more championship experience. You see what I'm saying? And it makes all the difference in the world. Yeah, we got another Cash App donation. Let's see who we got here. Brother Andre Miller. He no comment, but he just gave us a donation. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you very much for your donation to the channel, man. We got more people in the chat now. Let's see. Mike 202 has joined us. Dre's Finest. Said Andrew Charles. Ricky E245 says, "What's up, Stormy?" Rashid Rourke has joined us. A lot of the people that were listening in to your call, Reggie, have joined us. Sylvester Loma 2011 says, "Haney outboxes any of the other fighters in the division." That could be true, possibly. Chi-Town's Finest says, "I disagree, Reggie. Devin didn't box like an elite fighter, setting up shots, controlling the tempo, cutting off the ring." I saw him doing those things. I don't know why you arrived at that point, Chi-Town's Finest. Soccer Training Club says, question, who's top three? T.O., Tank, Haney, Burchelt, Ryan. Also, who will have a longer career? Not Hollywood career. Soccer Training Club, that question gets answered when these men face each other. I'm not going to do guesstimations, huh? Not at all. When these men get in the ring and show their wares against one another and show who wants it more than the other or who has a better progression of boxing experience than the other, that's when you'll know. That's when you'll know, not before. And this is what they're going to have to do. IGM Tim said, good-ish, fellas. And Dre's Finest is asking, the Cash App is right there scrolling at the bottom of the screen. It's Stormybman 66. Let's see who else we got here. Chi-Town says, I agree with that, Stormy. I don't know which point that's he's agreeing with. Darrell Harper says, but Haney hit him very clean throughout this whole fight. He just don't have the pop. Listen, man, you can hit a guy the right way at the right time on the button and he can go. Haney is just 21 years old, 21 years old. He's not as strong as he's going to be. And he will learn how to throw his punches with more leverage, with more power and technique as he goes along. But you heard me speak in my opening comments about if he were to get his hands together and stop dropping that left. It takes, regardless of what you may think, it takes more time for you to bring that left up from around your waist to shoot it out as a punch than it takes for it to go from straight here from your shoulder. You see? And the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, not an angle. Okay? Get off of that Floyd Mayweather way of doing things and the Roy Jones way of doing things, because that is not the technical way of doing things. That's the athletic way of doing things, where athleticism is great when you have the youth and the vigor, but when you don't have the technique, when the athleticism leaves you as you age, you have no technique to fall back on, and so therefore you'll be, as they like to say today, touched up like a son of a gun. So that's the difference right there. You see? Let's see who else we got. Thrill Hill has joined us, says, salute Stormy. Bruce Gold, salute OG Stormy and Reggie. G5 Gabe is out there. He says, salute my brothers. And LeVar Cooper is saluting everybody else. And I see Reggie is doing double duty out there, saluting everybody. So yeah, but you know, those are the things. And like I said, Reggie, for Haney, I give him a very high mark in this fight, like A+. How do you go through a fight with Gamboa, 12 rounds, you win every damn round, don't get touched up or hurt yourself, and you prevail like it was a workout? That's high marks. You have to give people the credit that they're due. He's not Mike Tyson. He's not Tank Davis. You understand? So his manner of winning, he might be that guy who might end up being like Pernell Whitaker or something that just beat the hell out of guys, winning, the bulk of the rounds and with losing maybe one because he gave a round away or something. And remember, when Pernell left the sport, he had all his faculties and everything. You understand? He had great defense, and he beat the crap out of everybody he fought, basically. So, and questionable decisions that led to him having losses in some instances. So, if Devin Haney is on that path or trajectory, that's Hall of Fame type future ahead of him. Remember, it's always about working smart, not working hard in there. And as long as he has the mental capacity to do the things that he needs to do, get that damn left hand up. That's my only gripe with him right now. Get that damn left hand up. Sky could be the limit for this young man. What else you got, Reggie?
No, I gotta disagree with Chi-Town's fighting statement about him not fighting like an elite fighter. I thought he did fight elite. 12-round cruise through a title defense, not losing a round. He was able to not be affected by another former champion who really brought a fight to who we are trying to compare Tank Davis to. He brought a better performance to this event, minus the stoppage. And really that stoppage in the Tank Davis fight, that fight shouldn't have been stopped. It could have went on. But him to box clear and clean in 12 rounds, along with trying to get this guy up out of here. I think the only knock that you can make on Devin Haney is but something that he didn't get punished for, and it was him headhunting a little too much. He was trying to get this guy up out of here. And that's based on him trying to satisfy what he felt that fans would demand and trying to make a comparative between him and Tank and their performances. But he didn't need to do that. He kept well with range on the outside. He controlled the range on the outside. Whenever it moved on the inside, that was to Devin Haney's doing. Even inside those clinches, where there's a lot of holding in this fight, Devin Haney fought perfect. He fought like a skilled vet inside the clinch. He showed that he knows what they're doing in clinch. He showed that he knows how to not get hit in the clinch. He did all the work inside the clinch. But yeah, he could have mixed things up a little bit better, but I don't think that's what he was looking for. He was looking in here to try to give fans what they wanted, trying to impress fans a little bit too much, but he boxed well. He didn't get really touched with nothing. He stayed smooth. He got up under stuff. He stepped out the range of stuff, returning with the jab. Like, everything looked crisp on him, and that's why Stormybman gave him an A+. So that's my thoughts on it. I thought he fought real elite, but yeah, he could have did those things, but he was looking for other things as well, along with boxing on top of it.
Yeah, let me just take a moment and acknowledge a couple of more cash apps that came in. We got IGM Tim says, for the Grandmaster. Thank you there, sir. Appreciate that, IGM Tim. Much love to you, brother. And G5 Gabe also sending us a little something saying, salute to your grind, sensei, and shout out Reggie. Appreciate that too, G5 Gabe, man. Everybody that's donating to the channel, man, really appreciate that. Gracing the channel with your blessings like that. This was a night, Reggie, that there was a lot of pressure on Devin Haney because he's following behind the other two young men in the division who had big victories. And now that he has passed his litmus test, what's a great way of looking at this is this. The three men all won their fights that were not necessarily shoe-in victories for any of them, right? But they were favored because of being young fighters on the come-up. But check this out. They all won, but they all won in different ways, Reggie. And most of their victories, with the exception of Tank, you could say for Teofimo and for Devin, they didn't win the way that you feature them winning, right? Some people thought Teofimo might stop Lomo. Some people thought that Lomo would beat Teofimo. People kind of felt like if Santa Cruz got hit by Tank solidly, he could go. So Tank maybe not as much, but it was still a great fight. And Santa Cruz landed some shots on Tank. Let's not forget that. But Haney won running away. So the fact that you have that factor there in their biggest fights, each of them, it does set up question marks for when they face one another in the future, if they so choose to do so. Those are great talking points. And that's what you want from your youth in the sport, the young guys coming up or the young guys that are immediately impacting the sport. Great talking points. When they begin to get together and start facing off, all of that has to be taken into consideration. And who knows, the guy you least expect could end up at the top of the pile. You know what I mean? The guy you least expect. So, I don't know, man. I enjoyed watching Devin. I got to see 12 rounds of him. And as I said, as if he could just pick that damn left hand up, I have no other problem with him in this performance. So, you know, but that's pretty much it on that fight that I have on that. So, I don't know. Do you want to talk about the undercard of Haney and Gamboa?
I didn't catch those. I was watching that Luis Ortiz one. I caught towards the end. By the time I turned to Herkovitz, he was stopping the guy, but it didn't look too eventful going in there. But I didn't really catch that card.
Well, let's jump to the Ortiz because I didn't watch that. I heard what happened, but let's jump right to that one right now. I heard that it was over early, so why don't you give us a rundown of what happened with the Luis Ortiz fight?
Man, that's a fight. That dude's whole fight purse needs to be taken away from him. He don't deserve it. They shouldn't pay him nothing. Maybe they pay his fee for the hotel and however he needs to get back home. But other than that, he just came up here to take a check, man. He took a check for something because the punch that he fell for when they show the replay, it hit him on the arm. And he dropped down writhing in pain like he just got hit with Luis Ortiz bouncing off the ropes and running towards him, hitting him with a right down to the body. It was the biggest fake out that I've ever seen in boxing history, man. It was horrible how he tried to sell it. And then to even see the announcers as they run the replay and they trying to go with what set the punch up because they thought he got hit with a punch. So it's Brian Kenny showing him throw Luis Ortiz throw a left hook. And when they show it, it hit off the dude's forearm. The left hook didn't even land. And then he's chasing after the guy when he throws that right hand. The guy's arm is blocking his whole body as the punch gets caught up on his arm, and then he drops down. And he's up there just on the floor like selling it, like he's hurt. He faked like he tried to get up, then he dropped back down, and he can't make the count. It's like he was just scared from the get-go. When Ortiz threw one left hook at him that missed, he felt the power from that, and he didn't want to be in there. Looking at the dude, it only looked like the dude took one moment to get in shape for this fight. He was sloppy as I don't know what, folds all over him. He looked like somebody that had got the like the belly reduction surgery. You know, all that extra skin laying all over the place. That's what he looked like. And it was a 46-second fight of a guy going in here to take a straight dive, and he dove to the ground too. So that's how he tried to sell it. But it was ridiculous. He shouldn't get paid at all for it.
You say he dove to the canvas. I'm going to have to catch the replay, man. But that's ridiculous. That reminds me of what was seen when Tyson and Cliff Etienne fought. And Tyson hit Etienne with a glancing blow. But on his way down to the canvas, Etienne took his own mouthpiece out of his mouth. And when he hit the floor, he took his mouthpiece out in one motion and laid there. I'm like, man, did you see that bullshit? It's like the dude took his own mouthpiece out. That was ridiculous. But yeah, if it was like that, Yeah, that. Yeah, man. You know, we have to, like, remember the guy that was supposed to fight Effie Ajaba that walked out the ring or whatever? It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
we need, you know, they need to, sanctioning bodies and commissioners and stuff need to uphold guys' purses for doing stuff like that. Seriously. You don't deserve a payday when guys who go to work out there and don't get paid enough be fighting wars, and guys like that who plan on just going down the moment they feel the wind or something. You know, get the hell out of here with that, man. That's crazy. So, yeah, I'm glad I didn't see that live, because I would have been really pissed to have set aside some time to see something like that. And we know that that wasn't Luis Ortiz's fault, because Luis Ortiz, I'm sure, I saw the weigh-in, he came in shape, ready to go, you know?
Yeah, yeah, most definitely, man. And it was almost as bad. The ref should have told the dude to get up, because I watched one of the worst fights I've ever seen in history was Hakeem Rockman versus that dude Mario Cowley. And and Rockman was swinging. Rockman to flinch at Mario. Mario would drop, act like he got hit with something. And the ref kept telling him to get up. Like, man, he ain't even touched you. Like, if you don't get up, man. And that's basically what this dude did, man. They should investigate this dude. He shouldn't even be allowed to come back into boxing. I think it was unjust for Luis Ortiz. But I think what they're going to set up is that Cuban fight between him and Sanchez. Him and hey, what's that dude name? Frank Sanchez is who they're going to end up setting up, I believe.
Well, I hope he gets a chance to fight someone, because Luis Ortiz deserves to find himself in another title shot. He's probably one of the best fighters. Excuse me. He's probably one of the best fighters that didn't get a legitimate title shot over someone that was supposed to fight him. Like AJ was supposed to fight him. That was AJ's mandatory. We know Wilder gave him a couple of shots, but it was AJ who was supposed to fight that man. And it didn't happen. And you know, that's the thing. If AJ didn't get that opportunity, what would have happened? I mean, if AJ would have given him the opportunity, we would have either saw him become a champion, or in a good fight where AJ learned something and had a chance to grow from a victory. Again, we don't get the best of the sport when they play these games like that. You know, and I totally dislike that, man. So too bad that the Ortiz event didn't turn out to be an event, but it turned out to be a sham. And please, people, don't get mad at Luis Ortiz for that, because you never know how these opponents come in, man. Some guys come in to give their all. Some guys just come in to grab the check, man. And it looks and sounds like that's what it was for Mr. Flores. But hey, you know what? It's going to be hard. It's going to be a hard out for him next time. It's going to be hard for anybody that want to put him on a card, let alone be on TV. And that's the thing I heard you say, Reggie. That was on Fox, right? It's like you on TV embarrassing yourself like that. Nah. People don't need that, bro. They don't need that. But we can move on. I'll go to the what I had with the undercard for the Haney and Gamboa fight. There were two heavyweight matches on the undercard of there, and the first one was Zhilei Zhang, the big Chinese heavyweight. He was taking on a chap by the name of Devin Vargas, a white guy that he didn't look Spanish, but he has a Spanish last name or a Latin last name. And it ended up being a 4th round KO for Zhilei Zhang, who's a big 7 foot, nearly 7 foot fighter from China. He had Olympic background, and he's a big plotting guy, southpaw, and it wasn't very impressive because of his competition. That young man that was in there with him didn't even look like a legitimate heavyweight. He looked like a guy who weighs heavyweight pounds, but wasn't a heavyweight fighter. You know, he looked like he could have been more like a light heavy or a super middleweight. That's how much overweight he looked to me. So, and I didn't see their weights because I was listening to, you know, something else and just looking at the screen. So when they introduced them, I didn't see what their weights were. But Zane got the knockout. He's a guy that will probably get some places in the sport because of his size and everything. But as soon as he fights a capable fighter, that's going to be it for him. You'll hear over your airwaves, timber, when he's in there with somebody who could really fight. And it might be this young man that fought on the next fight card, which was Filip Hrgovic, where this guy, you know, I did a video about him. He was taking on Booker. Now, Booker is a guy that did it. He fought around the Crunk Gym and stuff like that, but he did a 14-year stint, you know, away from society. And he was more like a light heavyweight type guy, super middleweight, light heavyweight. But now he's at heavyweight, and you could tell he doesn't belong at heavyweight. He couldn't take the punches, but he's got boxing ability. But at heavyweight, I don't even know why he's even trying to campaign there. I know he probably can't get the weight off, but we've seen guys get weight off. But it was like horrible watching Filip Hrgovic just bang on him to the 5th round when the referee just stepped in and stopped the fight. He dropped him in the 3rd round, 2 knockdowns, but 1 was counted because the first knockdown, the ref kind of missed it and called it a slip. It was a knockdown. Hrgovic was pounding on the guy. And it went 2 more rounds, and in the 5th, the ref just got tired of watching Booker take this beating, man. And that's the thing. There's a better way to make a living. You in that ring, and ain't nobody, you know, 6'6", 6'7", 250, 60 pounds plus banging on me for a living. I'm sorry. You know, I ain't going to do it. But again, this is what we're getting. And when you have those type of fights on undercards, it's hard to look at them. You know, it's hard to enjoy it. That's where the sport really, you know, is sour. And it's like rats in the sport doing this kind of stuff. So I don't like that at all. Didn't like those performances. But I do think that Hrgovic is a possible prospect in the ilk of Vitaly Klitschko. He's a lot similar to Vitaly. Maybe not as quick as Vitaly or punches as good with straight punches. That makes all the difference in the world. So, yeah, that's the thing, man. So those 2 undercard fights there, they were lackluster, but I still see Hrgovic as a legitimate prospect, and Mr. Zhang is just waiting to be somebody's cannon fodder himself. So that's what I gotta say about those guys, Reggie.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, because I kind of like the last round of that Booker fight, man. It just looked like, I don't know what it looked like, what he was in there doing, but he wasn't giving no effort. And I think Hrgovic could have stepped on a little bit sooner. And I was shocked to see who he had trained. He was the one being trained by a woman or something, right?
What was that?
Yeah, Brooks was the one with his trainer was that lady or something, right? Did they even seem skilled or anything?
You talking about Zhang?
No, in the Booker fight, that Booker versus Hrgovic.
Well, he used to be a good boxer, but like I said, he went away for 14 years. Okay, you know, he got locked up. Okay, and he come up around, you know, the Kronk Gym and stuff like that. He was around those guys. He had a fight with James Toney when James Toney was super middleweight, I think it was. So that's how far back he goes. But when he came back and he tried to resume his boxing career, he's trying to campaign at heavyweight. And they were boasting in the broadcast that he had never been knocked out or anything. Well, he got knocked out tonight. And he got knocked out by a guy that was too big for him and pounding on him and stuff. And at an advanced age, man, that kind of trauma on your body is not a good thing. You don't bounce back from that. You carry it with you. Like bad luggage. So that's the thing. That's the thing. So, but yeah, man. Let me go back to the chat real quick. Andre's Finest, I got your message. Appreciate that, bro. We got Willie Beecham is out there. He says, who paid Flores to take a dive and why are some good questions. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. It's a good question, man. I agree with you. And let's see, IGM Tim says, hell yeah, Bruce, movie shit. Love Thyself is out there. He says, Willie Beecham, just think he was scared. And he says, Ray Flores interviews PBC fighters once a week over the phone. Love Thyself also says, or when they have a fight coming up. Okay. Willie Beecham says, Love Thyself. No, not at all. That was a bad dive. Flores might be in trouble. He very well may be, because people call in about that stuff. We might not hear about it. We'll just talk about it as a community, right? But there'll be people calling into the TV stations or the PBC or something saying, man, what was that? Acting like they paid for a ticket, So, yeah, that won't go well. IGM Tim says, tell it like it is, Stormy B. And Love Thyself said, yeah, the ref had enough of that. Yeah, talking about Booker. Booker was being pounded on, man, like he was a bag in the gym. He really was. Bruce Gold says, Zili Zhang is 37, so time isn't on his side. No, it isn't. It isn't. Chi-Town's Finest says, when giving Cash App, use your chat name. That's right. Use your chat name, or at least write it in a message. So we'll say your chat name, and we won't be telling people what your government name is and having people knocking on your door by tomorrow morning. So yeah, just remember to do it that way. And the Stormy don't know. I know who sent it by what it says. So just make that clear for you. Love Thyself says, as Stormy, did y'all hear his trainer say, don't worry about landing a punch? No, I didn't hear that. Did you hear that, Reggie?
Wait, what was that again?
Oh, Love Thyself says, as Stormy, did y'all hear his trainer say, don't worry about landing a punch? I think you're talking about Flores. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. But hey, man, that's about it, Reggie. We don't have to hold people's night and evening up, man. It's like, we got a chance to see the Dream do his thing, and he prevailed. Like I said, that was an A+ performance. I give the guy. If people want to rate his performance less, I won't argue with you. I just stated my case for why I rated it very high. What else you got, Reggie?
No, that was it. That's all I had.
That's it. So, yeah, man. That's, but that's it, man. We can look forward. We got a big one coming up next weekend where it's Bud Crawford and Kell Brook. Trill Boxing had Kell Brook on today. They had a great interview with him, and it's nice to see that the brother was talking to us and answering questions and everything. So, hey, it's exciting. It's exciting. Boxing is back, and we're going to see fighters in the ring with names. Hey, man, I couldn't ask for more. I'm hyped for this week.
Yeah, I can't wait either. And I'm putting my bet in. That 10-1, I'm getting it.
We got a couple of questions here at the end. Eric R., you came in a little late, bro, because we done talked about Haney already. We opened the show up with that. And if you didn't catch it, man, you're going to have to catch the replay or roll it back from the beginning, because we talked about Haney's victory already. We opened the show up with that. So I'm sorry you didn't hear it live like that, but just run it back, man, because we're about to sign it off. But I want to answer a couple of these questions. Eric asked, do you think that Haney was ready for a fight with Loma? Yes, because he can box. See, when you can box, it could take you a long way, you know. Jimmy Young beat George Foreman. He put the second loss on George Foreman's record, you know. And when he beat him, George got mad, blamed everything under the sun, and went into a 10-year retirement. Okay? That's the thing. A boxer can box his way in or out of a situation, you know. Punchers only have that, a hope of a landing. So you just remember that, you know. And for a man with the youth of a Devin Haney and a man of the age of Vasily Lomachenko, he thought that he'd take his chance with Teofimo Lopez. So what does that tell you? You know, Devin Haney is much younger, you know, by about 4 years or 3 or 4 years, right? So it's like, but think about it. That's something. The fact that the kid can box, and you just heard me say he didn't lose a round tonight. So Vasily Lomachenko saw that guy coming and went on and vacated and moved over and thought he would do something else, and he still stepped into a snake pit. So much for him. We don't care. We don't need to talk about him anymore. He's yesterday's news, as they say. But yeah, Reggie, go ahead and give everybody your final thoughts and everything, and let them know where they can find you, as I hear that something happened with your first channel again.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, man. Thanks for having us. Thank you guys for coming through for the post-fight recap, man. And you guys can catch me on my backup channel, which I've been using. Once again, the YouTube violator, me, has effed up again. So I made my main page, I think I terminated, but I'll explain it real quick, because I know people don't want the details. But what happened was I had community policy violations for person videos. Mainly the video that came from it was the one me bashing Trump. So it was me talking about him kicking the bucket. I understood that one. Then I had a video the other day, they say violated policy from the kid that was the rapper that was shot out there in Chicago. So that one got me. My third one being, I had 2 strikes at the time for policy violations. You can't have 3. When you get 3 policy violations, they eliminate you. But the cold part was one of the policy violations is supposed to drop on Thursday. So they hit me with this one, but I'm going to appeal it. If the appeal go through, it go through. If it don't, I got the backup channel. So Reggie, Boxing with Conversations, Reggie Owens 2. And I may take the 2 off and just make it Boxing Conversations if the appeal don't go through. But it's all good. It's the same thing, same content, me speaking the same kind of talk. And I will be doing a political talk later on today, probably in like the next 2 hours. But that's all I got. You guys hit the like button while you're here, subscribe, all that good stuff. But we'll catch you on the next one.
Yes, indeed, man. And man, just curb it back a little bit so you don't get the violations, man. Because you know you do good. You do good stuff. You know, you don't have to get your. Listen, man, we need you out here. You know. Yeah, I know you can create more channels, but it's like, you know, this you had great content on there that we could go back and look and archive and stuff. So it's like, you know.
Well, now that Trump gone, I probably can calm it down a little bit. So we'll see.
Yeah. But we don't want you to change who you are. We just, you know, we don't want your stuff to get removed. You know, because there was stuff. Hey, that clip that we was talking about, that was on that channel.
I think I'm on both. It's on both. Usually I'll upload what I put on that main channel for this one because I knew eventually I was going to get the channel taken down. So I was thinking
ahead. Yeah, Chi-Town said, listen to Stormy, Reggie. He trying to tell you to listen to what I'm telling you. But yeah, man, that's good stuff, man. We want to thank everybody that was out there listening to us this evening. Had a great chance to review these fights. We saw Devin Haney come through with flying colors. The brother excelled tonight. Glad to see him get his victory. And I'm sure he'll be in the community talking on either Trill or 78 or both, or Fred or somebody. And definitely his dad will be around, Trill Bill. So we look forward to hearing from those brothers this week as well. So yeah, for my man, Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, this is Stormy B, man. We're going to go ahead and sign off from you guys this evening. Catch you guys next week when we have the Bud Crawford and Kell Brook fight. And yes, they called me the Grandmaster on 78 and Trill today, but I prefer the Sensei. But if you guys want to label me the Grandmaster, I do Kung Fu as well. So don't worry, that name won't be wasted. But good night to everybody. Appreciate you guys. Hit the like button on the way out if you didn't. And we'll catch you guys next week. Peace.
Thank you.